we're living in an age where people are not working for survival. If there is an opportunity, then the next question that comes to my mind is whether it is rightful or not. Time that's gone is gone.
Right.
Uh, there is no point lamenting about it. Every loss brings a seed of future victory. See, strategy is not made many times.
Today, we have an extraordinary guest with us, someone who plays a pivotal role in steering the ship of one of the most renowned lifestyle brands globally. Joining us is Vivek, the Chief Operating Officer of Being Human, a brand that not only defines style but also champions the spirit of philanthropy. So, welcome, Vivek.
Thank you so much, Aksa, for having me on this podcast.
Yeah. So, could you tell us something about yourself so the audience gets to know you better?
Okay, to begin with, you've introduced my name. I work as the Chief Operating Officer of Being Human Clothing. It's a very exciting brand that we believe we are building. Uh, my entire career of close to 24, 25 years has been in fashion. Uh, no, so my formal education in my undergrad was design,
Okay.
and then I have done management programs, two long duration programs from IIM Calcutta, both 1 year each.
Hmm.
One was a program that was called SMP, which was a senior management program, which is practically a fast track MBA for working professionals, and then I completed another certification in digital business leadership as the world has been changing more to businesses that are led by digital platforms, digital communication media, and so on and so forth. So I kind of have re-equipped myself twice in my career. Uh, that's a bit on education. In terms of brands I worked on, I started at Levi's. I worked very briefly at then Madura Garments as a part of Alan Solly women's wear team. I have worked at Arvind. I relaunched Flying Machine. It
Fine.
was it was the first homegrown jeans brand of India way back in 80s. I did the relaunch in 2008.
Wow.
Then I was a part of the team that launched US Polo in India. I scaled it up to a large revenue level, and then moved on to creating the kids wear excellence center of Arvind, where multiple brands of which were operating in kids as a category were consolidated together because consumption patterns, supply chain, sales methods, all of that are very different. So I did that. I worked at Raymond, worked on multiple brands at Raymond, Color Plus, Park Avenue, Parks, Raymond Ready to Wear in
Oh my
multiple
God, the
capacities.
list goes on and on and on.
Yeah, I think so. Started in design, done multiple roles, been on the shop floor every single weekend in the initial years of my career, selling like a CRO. That was a part of my learning stint. So while I would design on the weekdays, I would work as a CRO on the
Oh my God.
in the store.
Hard work on its peak.
Yeah.
So,
So
Vivek, let
that's
me get ahead with the questions here. Okay, so the first question is that what initially drew you to the world of marketing and business? Are there any defining moments or experiences?
yeah. I mean, there was a phase of my career. I started with design, like I said,
Yeah.
right. So about 3 years of doing design, and I realized that the impact that I can bring to the business with design was going to taper out after a few years. I had a super boss and a mentor
Hmm.
who took faith in me, and he said that, look, I think you've got your logical side of the brain thinking straight. So why don't we give you? So I had created a brand called Levi's Sykes
Yeah.
in India way back in 2002, and 2003 is when I was given the opportunity to. Yeah, so we used to. So there was actually a silver bullet. It was created to make Levi's brand younger because the brand equity surveys were showing that Levi's was being consumed more and more by older people, and you could not. tamper a lot with the Levi's Red Tab product. So, in fact, Levi's Sykes is the only other sub brand other than Levi's Red Loop, which has been created in the world of Levi's outside of United States. Red Loop was created in Japan, Sykes was created in India.
Yeah.
Every other sub brand of Levi's has been created in the US. What happened was very, very interesting. We were sitting and having a conversation. I still remember it was a 40-minute long conversation, and 35 minutes of that were spent on a lot of personal things about what's going on. I was a young man, and I had stories to tell about parties and things like that. And then the next 5 minutes were spent in him, Shumon, and I still owe my career transformation to him because he was the guy who gave me the first break. Shumon Chatterjee later went on as played multiple roles in Levi's in APAC, he was the MD of India, and then multiple large organizations like SC Johnson, Lenskart, etc. So next 5 minutes, Shumon told me that there is a business problem which is take a particular state, and this is your revenue. How will you grow? And I just sort of spoke about what I thought was right. And he said, you speak like a management guy. Let me give you this chance.
Oh my God.
And very, very interestingly, and I was very scared. I never studied management before. I barely knew MS Excel, which I saw everybody just keying away to glory around at the organization. I said, what if I fail? He says, okay, I'll give you 6 months opportunity. If you fail, I'll put you back in design and we'll label it as a learning stint for you. Uh, the 6 months never happened. I was never put back in design. Lot of long hours, a ton of travel, a lot of going around in the market trying to place my product, getting space in MBOs, department stores, everywhere. A lot of big bats that came my way, a lot of problems I could solve, a lot I couldn't. But we grew the business amazingly well over the next 4 years. In fact, it was globally acknowledged as one of the best business cases in the world of Levi's in 2006. I was given the Global Excellence Award for that.
Wow.
And then career never looked back. And then the next opportunity was relaunching Flying Machine in the capacity of a business manager, which was a full P&L role. It kind of worked out well.
So, do you call yourself lucky, or you would rather term it as something else?
I don't know. I'm not a big believer of luck. I believe in certain amount of karma,
Hmm.
and uh, so all of us are destined to do a certain set of things.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're at the right place at the right time.
Hmm.
And if it works out well, then people give it different names. I still go back to the concept of karma and say maybe it was meant to be, and that's what it worked out to be.
Right. Karma it is. Maybe
Yeah,
something good you've done that turned back to you.
maybe.
Wow, it was very inspiring. Like, it led me into a thought. Like, wow. What are some of your core values and sense of purpose that drive you in your professional endeavors?
So I'll tell you what, I come from a small town. My childhood was spent in a town called Ranchi.
Ranchi.
Yeah. So and a middle class background. My father used to work for the government of India, so we kind of saw life initially very, very differently.
Hmm.
And it kind of, the formative years of life taught us, and when I say us, I mean a whole bunch of us who are working at different organizations in different cities and countries, the value for money and opportunity. So that's something which is very, very important to me.
Hmm.
uh, if there is an opportunity, then the next question that comes to my mind is whether it is rightful or not. There are opportunities which are there. There are plenty of opportunities that come our way in life, and this is not just about work, because I believe that life and work are reflection of each other. They are not very, very far apart. I can't be one person at work and another outside, right? So, medically it has got a very scary name. So I genuinely believe that being rightful is very important. I would rather that I be rightful and lose than I be deceitful and I win.
Wow, that's very thoughtful. And as a chief operating officer, you constantly have to be in touch with humans. How do you effectively manage human relations? I think you are very great at that.
So there are a few. Actually, there are not too many rules which are there because we are living in an age where people are not working for survival.
Yeah,
People are working for their aspirations. People are working for their comfort and their luxury
that's
and
very
what they want to achieve in life.
yeah,
And some are material, some are beyond material, right?
yeah,
So I genuinely believe that irrespective of situation and tonality, every conversation needs to uh, end up being productive. So even if something has gone wrong,
hmm,
while there are points that have gone wrong that needs to be discussed, but what is very very important for me is what have I learned out of it, what have we learned out of it as a team, and then what are the possible action points that we can take to correct the future. See, the time that's gone is gone.
right,
uh, there is no point lamenting about it. Lamenting only creates frustration for yourself and your team. So what's very very important is that even if something has gone wrong, celebrate the failure, learn from the failure, and make sure that it turns out to be something that adds to your understanding and work of future. That's very very important. I genuinely believe that in conversations when we have won, it's great. It's very simple. It's very encouraging. But when you lose, to be able to convey to the other person that every uh, every loss brings a seed of future victory. So these are the things that I follow. Not clearly guarded rules, but some guardrails that I keep.
you really have that human touch, and that, yeah, like you're a great man. That's what I can say by hearing to this conversation and having a conversation with you. It's like I'm learning so much from you. Like I've taken so many podcasts, but I think this one's the best till now because it's like I'm thrilled to be here with you and take your knowledge and experience.
You're being very
Thank you
kind,
for
Afsar.
thank you for joining us, really. Um, talking about chief operating officer, what role do COOs actually play in a company?
So there are the roles. I would bucket them in
Yeah.
few sets. So one role is making sure that the revenue and the cash flows of the organization
Okay.
is in line with what one has casted for themselves. Second role is the expansion goals are being met. Expansion on channels, expansion on stores, expansion of shopping shops, and expansion of categories. Uh, Third bucket of roles that I would call is making sure that there is uh, a certain amount of semblance between back end and front end of the organization. So you become the bridge between the two sets, right? The fourth role is more strategic, which involves the brand. How am I building the brand for future? And second part is how am I building the team for future?
Hmm.
So am I structuring it right? Am I discussing it with the HR, the CEO, the entire excom to sort of
Hmm.
get their opinions, get the thoughts vetted, discuss, debate, and then kind of put things in the perspective where all stakeholders are onboarded. So there is revenue, there is brand building, there's people, there is something that I call conflict resolution and resource mobilization.
That's
And
your
that's
term.
something. Sorry?
That's your term.
I think it's a generic term in management. Uh, I have read it, uh, not exactly coined this way, but if you read books around many founders and business leaders and thought leaders and philosophers, I think all of us at the end of the day get down to, uh, do I do anything myself? Very few things, right? There are teams that do things. So my role at the end of the day boils down to resolving conflicts and mobilizing resources, making resources available.
As a CEO, do how do you personally balance the strategic vision with the day-to-day operations of being human?
So if you ask me frankly, strategy is 80% execution.
Hmm. Right.
So in my role, I kind of split my bandwidth similarly. A lot of bandwidth goes in managing execution on a day-to-day basis. I have my operational reviews, which is weekly. I have my department reviews, which is different departments in different days of the week. And then what I call a certain amount of firefighting that can come any moment, any time. And then I keep a certain amount of time for myself to be able to sit and think that what have I learned of everything that is going on? How does that align with the future goals that are casted already? See, strategy is not made many times. Strategy is made once or twice in 5 years and then executed. Strategy is as good as execution,
Hmm.
right? So, given the fact that strategy comes from strategios, which was a term which was uh, about plotting the troops on a warfield. So it is to tilt the power balance, right? And you can't be doing too many iterations on that. You'll
Yeah.
have to be clear on what the roadmap is. You'll have to be clear on what the goal is. While the goalpost does move with time, yeah, but it moves in the physical forms of the goalpost, right? So a revenue goalpost can move because it is the market is behaving a certain way. I'm able to do better. I know that okay, the goal was X. There's a possibility of a delta on X, hence the goalpost moves.
Yeah.
But the direction doesn't change,
Hmm.
right?
Collaborations and communications between different departments, ensuring everyone works towards the shared goals. This is what keeps a company going. So, how do you ensure that everyone's at their best?
So the first step on that is transparency.
Yeah.
So the goal that I have is a sum total of goal of every single function that I have, and I have a very simple all function together ORM that I follow. This is something I learned from one of my earlier super bosses, that there is nothing better than an operational review once in a week with all stakeholders together. So some of them may or may not directly contribute to the work being done by the other department, but there is obviously an indirect contribution. So bring one truth on the table for everyone. So that's the first step. The second is being able to call out clear action points. If I cannot give clear action points, if I cannot arrive at clear action points in a meeting, that meeting was just a conversation,
Mm, right.
right? And some of these meetings are necessary. Sometimes you need to just open your brains up, open somebody else's brain up, and just sort of look at various perspectives. But operationally, to me, these two things are very important. First is to bring one truth for everyone. Second is to be able to cull out action points out of that. And then all action points to be shared with every single stakeholder, whether it relates to you or not. Because it could not be a direct action, but your action could lead to an action by another's, another colleague of yours. So then it kind of gives everyone the same view of the business that I have. And that's to me the one rule which is most critical. If I'm able to deliver that to the team, I can expect solutions coming back to me.
Right. That is how you do it.
Yeah.
Lovely.
And be very clear, you wanna fight, fight on the table, it's fine. You wanna pat someone's back, you wanna give someone a hug for some great work done, please do it. It's absolutely fine. ORM is not, for me, my meetings are very candid.
Hmm.
Uh, if somebody is not able to control something, something is going wrong, there's absolutely no harm in tabling it.
Let it all out.
One thing I encourage is give me the bad news first, give me the good news later.
Okay.
Because give me the bad news clearly, at least we will find a way to solve.
Yeah. Okay. Bad news first.
Always.
Data plays a vital role in operational excellence. Can you share how you leverage data and analytics to inform decision making and optimize performance?
So there are some things that for our organization that human does, right? Which is analyzing data, sharing insights on what's going on.
Hmm.
That is done by each of the teams. Every team is responsible for their own data, is responsible for their own insights, and that's all of that is discussed in the ORM in a very very open forum. There are certain set of sensitivities, of course, that can't be taken up in a open forum. Those are taken up separately. The second piece is one has to agree and understand that you cannot analyze every single piece of data
Right.
as a human. Then you bring in tools. So there are tools today that we have implemented, which whether it is machine learning and artificial intelligence led CRM that does the CRM and the digital promotions around the CRM,
Hmm.
or a tool which is based on Ellie Goldratt's principle. In fact, organization that's run by Ellie's son Rami, which is around managing inventory and data of sales data of the stores, managing replenishments, inter-store transfers. So there are certain set of things that you need to automate. I genuinely believe that people in the team should spend time analyzing data to cull insights
Hmm.
and spend time really putting the data together.
Hmm.
If they end up spending all their time putting their data together, how will I ever get insights? And I
Yeah.
cannot rely on unilateral decisions
Hmm.
based on the gut of a person. There are certain set of things that you do based on gut,
No, right.
not every day.
Not everything.
Not every day.
Right. So, innovation is vital for any organization's long term success. How do you, as a COO, encourage and implement innovative practices ensuring efficiency and adaptability?
So we don't start with a no on any suggestion.
Okay.
We always start with what if. What if this was done? What are the repercussions? What are the pluses? What are the minuses? We wait and we take the decision based on that. There are some times where we take a decision by where there is no logic to support something, right? And some of these decisions have paid off very very well, which was I had a very very good replen system going on for my stores. Stores were very happy. I still felt that I could bring the base stock holding at the store down, and we went and we got this tool in. So was the starting point based on any data? No, we were on a decent DOH. We were not off the mark. But I've been able to bring the stock holding of the store down, and I've been able to increase sell through. So some of these decisions are based on a starting point where you say that, okay, this is a hypothesis, let's test it, either nullify it or take it forward.
Yeah.
Another example I could take is bringing in fair trade in the fold of being human, fair trade merchandise. So when fair trade uh, India team and I had a conversation. Somewhere deep down inside, we knew that our costs for the product is going to go up. But there are certain decisions that you take from the heart, and you say it's okay. It's okay for the cost to go up, because if today as an industry we don't start solving, you can't leave everything for the government to solve, right? So they say that you can blame the system, but what are you doing about fixing the system?
Right.
And which is where we decided jointly that, yeah, let's do fair trade, let's pay a higher price for the same garment. At least we will do our bit in impacting farmers of India, cotton farmers of India, which is the bedrock of our industry. If you ask me frankly, if it weren't for cotton farmers, our industry wouldn't have existed in the size and scale, because that's the primary fiber.
Hmm.
There are decisions which are based on data. There are decisions that are based on cut. There are decisions that are based on emotion, because there is brand, if you ask me frankly, is a living, breathing being. While it is something that, management professors define it as something that exists between the 2 ears of the consumer, but the reality is that it breathes, it has a life.
Yeah.
And if it has a life, it has to have a heart. And that's something that we take at being human very, very seriously. We do multiple things. To give you another example, at our stores, we have specially abled staff. And these are people who don't get equal opportunity of employment, because some of them can't speak, some of them can't hear, some of them can't do both, some of them are of a different kind of a height, size, shape. There was a point in time some acid attack victims were working at our stores. So there's this whole bunch of people who have a social sort of they don't get the equal opportunity in society. We do that not because we want to do charity. We do charity out of our revenues anyways, and at a much higher scale than CSR sort of the government kind of suggests you to do. But we also believe that if my brand name is being human, am I being human as a business? Am I really creating opportunity? If the Being Human Foundation works with underprivileged children to support their education and healthcare, can I create employment for people who will probably not get employment that easily otherwise?
Taking good decision is not everyone's cup of tea, and you have to take difficult decisions every now and then. Please tell us how you navigate these situations.
See, when you take a decision, it's just a decision,
Hmm.
right? It's only in hindsight that we are smart enough to know whether this was a good decision or a bad decision. So,
Right.
at the point in time when you're taking the decision, that's the most logical decision you can take.
Hmm.
One does that. Delving any more beyond that at the point of time of decision making only slows the process down. Yeah. If something doesn't stack up in 10 minutes of logical conversation, then it's probably not going to stack up. Sometimes you miss a few things out of that, but that's okay. I mean, that's a chance that you need to take. That's a risk you need to take. That's the risk of working. That's the risk of doing business.
Yeah. So it is told that mistakes are one of the best teachers. Did you ever make a mistake that led to a significant learning experience in your career or even personal life?
Uh, quite a few. Quite a few, actually. I mean, mistakes which I found out at 11:30 in the night and not slept the entire night, going to office, printing out my resignation with my signature on it saying कि आज तो नौकरी जाएगी, तो वो मांगेंगे और मैं दे दूंगा. To the kinds which you kind of figure and say, it's okay, we'll live with it. So mistakes of all size and scale, at work, in life, everywhere.
So just can you share this one and among so many mistakes which led to your personal growth?
Oh yeah, I mean, very interesting. Many years back, we made this product in one of my earlier organizations. I'll not take the name.
Hmm.
And I kind of approved that product. हाँ, ये बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है, let's make that. It was a T-shirt which had a kind of print that the French term for that print is called trompe-l'oeil, which is illusionary print that looked like that there's a shirt on top of a t-shirt, and there was a little bit of Superman logo, part of S that was visible. The colors were blue, red, and yellow. We made that product. All of us saw it. We liked it. At the end of the day, I was the guy signing off on the product. I signed off. It went into production. It got to the market, and then there was a letter that the San Francisco office of that organization received from the original copyright owners of Superman, saying that you guys are a very respectable company. I guess there has been some error that has happened by somebody in the team in India. So please take a look at this and take a corrective action. All we need is for you to take the product back and destroy it. We're not asking you to do anything. We're not going legal. It was a friendly email, not even a legal letter that was sent. And then that mail was forwarded to my country manager then. I and I guess he was awake at 11:30 in the night. He saw his mail. He saw that mail on his BlackBerry, and he called me. He said, "Vivek, did you make this product? I'm forwarding you a mail. Log in and check." I logged in at 11:30 in the night. I said, "Yes, I made this, and it's doing very very well." So he said, "Read the trail mail." I read the trail mail. He said, "It's okay. Don't worry. We'll talk about it tomorrow. What needs to be done."
What qualities and skills do you consider essential for being an effective CEO? I think I know this already. How do you continuously develop your own leadership skill and stay ahead of evolving business landscape?
So we'll come to the qualities later. What do I do? I try and get myself educated every 5 7 years.
Yeah.
Hopefully, going forward in future, if I want to stay relevant, I may have to do it sooner, faster. I read. Uh, a lot of time that is spent on watching news by a lot of people. I spend the time reading. I don't watch news. I just read the newspaper still
You
to
do
catch.
that?
I do that. There are two newspapers that come to my household every morning. I find my cup of coffee, balcony, and my newspaper, even if it is 15 minutes. So I think there's a lot of learning in observation as well. Observing other people operate, observing your competitors. Uh, the amount of learning that is there in observation is way higher than any other thing that can come your way in form of a formal piece of education, whether it's a book or a course. So that's primarily what I do to equip myself. uh, I talk to the younger lot in the team. I do talk to the management trainees in the team sometimes, generally saying what's going on, what are the new things you're seeing, because there are a lot of things that I may not even come across that may be going around with the people who are in their early 20s. Right? So that's another thing that I do. Uh, to be a good COO or a business leader, I think what's very, very important is to stay open in your mind first. Second is to be able to sort of take decisions quickly. I mean, you can go wrong about a decision, but a delayed good decision is actually worse than a quick wrong decision.
Right.
So the timing of decision is very, very important.
Yeah.
And if I'm breaking down a situation, problem, something that has happened, then I have to build up as well. So it's very important for you to be able to. Sometimes things go wrong and you also get frustrated, but you have to have the mindset saying that I will not leave it at broken down. I will start building it right here in the same conversation. That's very very important, because guilt hasn't gotten anyone anything.
Right.
Hope is what drives the planet.
Hmm.
If I can drive hope, I think it's very very critical for all business leaders to be able to sort of build it in.
Hmm.
And most of the things are mundane stuff. You need to be able to read your numbers. I don't think there is anyone who can deny that. You should be able to manage with your people, navigate people, set them up to win. If my team is set up to win, every single person in my team is set up to win, my victory of my business is guaranteed.
Right.
Uh, I think all of us need to do a lot more consumer conversations that we do right now.
Right.
So, consumer conversation and consumer insight is not just a job of marketing,
Hmm.
it's a job of all of us. So, I try and do that as much as I can on a shop floor. Sometimes call up some customers and generally chat with them. Some of them are very, very pleasantly surprised as well that why are you calling me? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, you've been wearing our products. I just want to talk to you about what do you think of us? What are the other things that interest you? So, ability to gain insights, quick, taking quick decisions, staying open to things that can scare you are three very, very critical things I genuinely believe is important for all of us going forward.
Okay, so this question leads to the end of our conversation here. Let me just say the closing statements once. So, as we wrap up this illuminating conversation with Vivek, we've not just scratched the surface of being human, but dive deep into its soul. Thank you so much, Vivek, for sharing your insights, challenges, and the passion that makes being human not just a brand, but a movement. To our listeners, stay inspired, stay compassionate, and always keep being human. That is what I would say. Uh,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, Vivek.